Hi, this is Anna Imagination. We are stepping into the world of skill building, and this is the introduction to the course. I'm very, very excited about this. I talk a lot about theory. There are four types of learning. There's only four types of learning. This information is based off of Edgar Dale, The Cone of Learning, and Plato. This is how learning is done, people. This is where it's done. There are only four ways you can learn. There are only four ways. Everything else is 100%, it doesn't work. Look at the cone of learning. It is not how information is retained. If you want to retain information, it has to be integrated on an intuitive level. And in order to do this, Plato knew exactly the entire science of this process. The first thing you require is theory, and then it is exploratory dialogue. This is my own phrase. I love it. It is called discussion, but I love to use the word exploratory dialogue because it really hits the point on the head of what we are looking at when we say discussion. Discussion is not a teacher standing in front of you, condescending, standing down, looking at you, as all of them do when you are sitting and they are standing. That is really, really, really important because that actually violates your power of choice and it corrupts the equal footing, which is the plateau. That is not at all where learning takes place. The very first thing you require if you are to learn from a teacher is you have to obtain and preserve equal footing. If you are not on equal footing, learning does not exist. This is literally the learning platform. In addition to getting the learning, this is like the environment of learning. Literally, you have to have the right environment. So the right environment, we're going to go ahead and cover this, is that equal footing. And then in addition, you have to be in the second ethic. The second ethic is vulnerability. And this is where a lot of people are going to have a problem with that, but that's okay. We're going to cover this. Plato knew about this, so he did things on purpose to ensure that people had the equal footing and also they were able to have the mindset for vulnerability in order to learn. You cannot skip these two stages. They are vital. If you skip these two stages, what you have is rape. It's ugly, but it's true. Welcome to logic, the cold, hard bitch of truth. So here is what we are looking at, is you have the environment of equal footing where learning takes place on an equal eye-to-eye respect between student and teacher. And you have that second ethic. To get to the second ethic, you require courage, you require safety. So if you do not feel safe, and if you do not have the courage, if you are not mentally healthy, you are not going to step into that second ethic, which means zero amount of learning and education is actually going to take place so long as a person has mental health or a mental health problem. So mental health must be the priority in order to get to that second ethic. Plato knew this, and it was worked into his curriculum to ensure the utmost optimum mental wealth. Once that is obtained, then you establish equal footing, which preserves a person's power of choice. And now you have the ability to begin learning. So in the learning environment, there are only four ways you can learn. And that is simple instruction or theory from a master, exploratory dialogue between student and teacher, and application, applied practice and applied technique. Practice and technique, both of those are vital. Technically, there's only three, but application practice and application in technique. And then this gets into the stages of learning. There are four stages. You know of these, you've heard of these. There is the apprentice stage, the tradesman stage, the master stage, and the very rare, unheard about philosopher stage. Those stages of learning are absolutely the process of learning. Learning is the integration of a skill into your intuition. And that is it. It is your intuition that is learning, not your mind, not your subconscious mind. It is your intuition. You are turning something into an intuition. That is actually referred to as a habit. Now, there are natural skills, and then there are unnatural skills. Unnatural skills would be something like knitting, playing the piano, practicing. Those are unnatural skills. Natural skills are, and by the way, unnatural skills take 30 to 40 days to become a habit. Natural skills take 3 days. 3 days. And a natural skill is savoring joy, savoring, indulging in joy. And if you know how to listen to your body, it will automatically do these for you because it's craving it and it needs this. Courage. And the 12 ethics. I'm just going to put here the 12 ethics. So if it's the 12 ethics, it's absolutely going to be a natural skill. And the more you practice it, the better it's going to get, the easier it's going to get for you. And once you get into the habit of practice, 2-3 days, boom, you're right on track. If it's an unnatural skill, like knitting, playing the piano, it's going to be a 30 to 40 days to develop the habit. That's because this program works with your subconscious mind. So one of the things that we talk about here is Pythagorean psychology. Only place in the world where this is taught. Pythagorean psychology. The other thing that you are taught here is power economics. And the other subject that we talk about here is human propagation. Those 3 subjects are absolutely core, and it is all we teach here. If we do not teach it here, then we bring somebody in who is a master in the field who does know. In addition to human propagation, and this is part of it also, this is the kind of stuff where you, I lost my train of thought. Drat. Just writing all this out while I look it over. So again, just to review, we have skill building introduction. We have the stages of learning, apprentice, tradesman, master, philosopher. We have the natural skills, and then we have the unnatural skills, which we will be covering. And then we have the topics covered. These are called academic disciplines. And there we go, academic disciplines. And there are 3 academic disciplines taught here. However, they're like broken down. For instance, human propagation is parenting, it's teaching, and it's communication. Power economics, we cover into the how all of this works. It's the how it works in physics. And then in Pythagorean psychology, it's how it is applied to the subconscious mind. So when it comes to the skills themselves, when I say application, one of the biggest obstacles that people run into is how to apply the life skill, like problem solving. We're going to be talking a lot about that. That is part of this course. So here is I wouldn't say it's a problem, let's call it an obstacle, is at the end of the day, you have to recognize, and this is a skill, the skill is recognizing when you need to problem solve and then taking the consciousness to actually apply it. So what we actually do is we train you to recognize. We train you on visibility. We start you at the absolute core basis skill. And when we do skill building, we walk you through the theory of the skill. We teach you what to look for, but it is ultimately up to you to go out of your way to scan and look for this. And when we do the scanning, so there's going to be the theory work. And then after the theory work, it's going to be you scanning. And then it's you taking advantage and applying it. So when you take advantage and you apply it, you're actually practicing it. And then after that, it's analysis, which we will take you through that process. And then we sit down with you. Now, there's no scoring or grade. That's something that traditional educators do. It's moot. You're doing it right when life gets easier. If it's easy, you're doing it right. If it's hard, you have work to do. And we're going to talk about easy, hard. If something is hard, you are either resisting, you are forcing something not meant for you, you're learning it out of order, or you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You don't have the environment preserved for the learning education. So once you can check off, and this is a skill that we teach you, is your ability to recognize, is this the right environment? If you are not in the right environment, it's going to be hard and you shouldn't be trying to learn. The next thing you need to be asking the question is, am I actually doing the skill meant for me? And again, we're going to be teaching you how to do all of that. And then it's knowing which skill you do need to use for each problem. This is all skill building. When you get to a point where you're proficient, then you start to recognize which skills need to be applied to what problems. I'm going to say that again. It's the skill of knowing which skills get applied to which problems. It's really bizarre, like how this just keeps going back in on itself. But this is literally learning. Now, what you are going to notice, and this is something we focus on, is logic, communication, and problem solving. As soon as we provide you with logic, problem solving, communication, something is going to happen. It always happens. What's going to happen is your subconscious mind, which has been starved for these three subjects, is going to go nuts and it's going to eat it. It's nutritional knowledge. It is going to absorb it so quickly and so fast that it's just going to gorge itself. Gorging is good. Gluttony is good. Gluttony is part of the learning process. Indulgence is part of the learning process. All those lying assholes who told you that it was a 7 deadly sin to have gluttony, stupid or malicious? I'll let you decide. So when your subconscious mind indulges on logic, communication, and problem solving, one of the things that you're going to learn right away, your subconscious mind is going to turn this on, and you are going to experience something called logical deduction. I love logical deduction. Logical deduction happens so fast that it's a chain reaction that goes faster than the firing of synapses in your brain. And it literally just, we're talking faster than the speed of light. It goes fast. And you will have common sense. Common sense is the skill of logic, communication, and problem solving so efficiently fast that your synapses fires off the actual mathematical projection and probability to a conclusion. So you will know shit that you've never studied, but you'll be right because welcome to logic. It is an extraordinary skill. And suddenly the majority of the information on the internet is in your brain, not because you've memorized it, but because you are using logical deduction with logic, common sense, and problem solving to do a mathematical projection to figure it out. The better off at these skills you get, the more the mathematical projection is going to allow you to see into the future. It's not really seeing into the future. It's just being able to predict at high probability the ratio or the likelihood of something occurring based off of the chain reaction science that is problem solving. It's really cool. I think that's all I have to cover for now. I'm assessing. That is, I believe, everything that we have to cover. It is really we're going to dig deep into this area. I do have a few side projects that I work on. One of the side projects is stupid or malicious, and it does address it is exploratory dialogue that opens up the door for intent, society, the delusion, the naked emperor, all of that. And that's just really we're talking about the naked emperor. We are talking about the history of the lost science of propagation and Pythagorean psychology, power economics. And it is really a look into breaking the delusion. And it's literally referred to as breaking the delusion. The delusion is the obstruction. I'm going to say that again. The delusion is the obstruction. And if you do not tear down the obstruction, you're not going to learn. You're not going to heal. The delusion is the obstruction. And the delusion is what causes the majority of mental illness. There is no getting around this. There is no nice way to put it. So part of this has to be breaking the delusion, because if you do not break the delusion, you've heard the phrase, you have to learn to unlearn. That is a lie that false authorities give us so they can preserve their delusion, so they can keep their lies and falsehoods and preserve their authority at your expense. And if you don't break the delusion, the stuff doesn't work. You won't be able to access it. It's equivalent to literally taking the cure and the medicine while the poison IV is feeding into your stream. So you've got to remove the poison IV. And that's it. It's the poison IV versus the medicine that you're drinking. I've had professionals literally advise me to just give them the medicine, but don't remove the poison IV. It doesn't work that way. The poison IV has got to come out. The poison IV is the delusion, which is the obstruction. You don't have to learn or unlearn to learn. You just have to break the delusion and remove the poison IV, and then this stuff will work. If you resist the IV coming out, if you resist the delusion coming down, it's not going to work because you're not going to feel safe enough to take on the environment required for learning, which is equal footing and power of preservation, your power of choice, your self-authority, combined with the second ethic of you feeling vulnerable. And the reason why is because that is your intuition sensing all of that danger in the delusion that's obstructing your view. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And yeah, I believe we're all set. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.